A number of states are moving to regulate social media use among children and teens. New York State is the latest with a new law that would allow parents to block their children from getting social media posts suggested by a platform's algorithm. About 1 in 5 American adolescents report having anxiety and depression. And CDC data show teenage girls are facing record levels of sadness and suicide risk. It all comes amid a larger conversation about social media and smartphones. Stephanie Sy has more.
On a recent morning in Durango, Colorado, students file into Mountain Middle School. But before entering, 14-year-old Julia Fernandez shuts off her cell phone and puts it into her backpack.
So this school has a ban on cell phone use. How is that going?
I personally agree with the cell phone ban. We have a lot of people with anxiety and depression, but I feel like it gives it a pause. A day without a cell phone, it's just a pause in that. Because that's not the reason that we have these issues, but it is a factor.
Mountain Middle School first enacted the policy in 2013 when Shane Voss became head of the public charter school.
Where did cell phone use rank in your mind in importance?
I think it was really at the top. We really wanted to teach students to, dedicate their full energy and be present. And it started with the cell phones.
Is this coming home with you?
8th grade teacher Emma Boone was fully on board with the policy after she observed how cell phones affected students at a former school she worked at.
Because if they didn't know where to start with an assignment, rather than turn to a friend to ask for help or ask me for help, they'd just take out their phone and do something distracting to manage that discomfort.
Voss says the ban has cut down classroom distractions and increased student achievement. But when it comes to mental health,
it's not a panacea, to just look at phones and then all of a sudden everything will be fine. I think there are a lot of factors that are attributed to this rise in anxiety and depression, but this has accelerated it, there's no question.
School cell phone bans are becoming more common across the nation. Last year, Florida became the first to enact statewide phone bans during class at public schools. Several other states are considering taking similar action.
Academic achievement has been going down, not since COVID, but since 2012. As soon as the kids all had the internet in their pocket, they can't resist. They have to be using it.
Social psychologist Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation, has been near the top of bestseller lists for months, stoking debate around how smartphones and social media are, in his words, rewiring childhood, and largely to blame for the youth mental health crisis.
This is the first time that a generation has faced a threat entirely on social media.
While Haidt declined our request for an interview for this story, he spoke to the NewsHour last year on the potential harms of social media.
There is direct correlational evidence that the more you use it, the more depressed you are. It's especially heavy users, more than 4 hours a day. Those girls are 3 times more likely to be depressed than medium users. So it's anxiety and depression, also self-harm and suicide. All of those things skyrocket after 2012.
But Haidt and his argument are very much in the spotlight, and he's facing enormous pushback from other researchers, especially for 2 prescriptions he says are desperately needed for healthier childhoods.
1, no smartphone before 14. That should be the minimum national norm. Number 2, no social media until 16.
There's no data behind that say that's when it automatically becomes safe.
Dr. Michael Rich is the director of the Digital Wellness Lab at Boston's Children's Hospital. He studies the impacts of online media on kids' physical and mental health.
He ignores a lot of the positives that have come with these technologies that kids have learned how to use in very positive ways to connect with others over great distances, to understand other cultures and other peoples. So beyond just not being able to get rid of them, we probably shouldn't get rid of them. What we really need to do is help our children of any age use these powerful tools in ways that are healthy, smart, and kind.
I don't think that a quick fix of taking the technology away or blocking people will do a darn thing. I think that is about assuaging the anxiety of middle upper class parents.
Dana Boyd is the author of It's Complicated: The Social Lives of Networked Teens. She also works for Microsoft Research.
What role do you think social media plays in anxiety and depression among teens?
I think that the internet mirrors and magnifies the good, bad, and ugly. I think it absolutely amplifies things. And so I think that we have to acknowledge that, yeah, young people are genuinely struggling, but trying to make the tools for which they're simultaneously exposed to the world and the tools for which they're reaching out to people unavailable isn't going to make the mental health crisis go away.
Boyd, a mother of 3, says restricting technology could backfire, disconnecting vulnerable teens from supportive online communities and make it more difficult for them to reach out for help during a mental health crisis.
As a country, we have very few mental health resources for young people, and most of them require your parents' insurance. And if your parent is a part of the problem, or you're afraid of telling your parent that you're struggling, you're not going to ask them for therapy. I want to make certain that young people have the tools to be able to get help when they need it.
We're not suggesting that, everybody give up their smartphone or even everybody give up social media. Just kids and the youngest teens.
Jean Twenge is a psychologist at San Diego State University and frequently collaborates with Jonathan Haidt. She faced similar criticism back in 2017 when she published iGen, a book that also made the argument that spikes in teenage depression could be linked to smartphones and social media.
It is 7 years later, and we have a lot more data, and teen depression has continued to go up. And still we need to wait? What are we going to wait for? Teen depression's now at 20%. Should we wait until it's half? Should we wait until it's a third?
95% of American teenagers now have access to smartphones, and about a third of them report being on social media almost constantly. But several studies examining the impacts that's having on overall teen mental health have produced mixed results. A report from the National Academy of Sciences in December concluded that contrary to the current cultural narrative that social media is universally harmful to adolescents, the reality is more complicated. Social media can offer both connections and a safe space for young people, especially for LGBTQ+ teens. But it can also encourage harmful behaviors and take the place of sleep, exercise, and other social activities. Also, frequent social media use may lead to worse body image for some teen girls and make them more vulnerable to eating disorders.
I think my number one fear is social media for teens.
Back in Durango, Will and Amber Blanchard's 2 kids, 9-year-old Piper and 13-year-old Ben, are not allowed their own phones.
We want to keep our kids engaged. We want them to be active. Just like the old saying, a tired kid is a good kid.
Go, Piper, go!
They believe this is what childhood should look like. Family bike rides to a nearby river where Ben practices fly fishing. An occasional selfie on a parent's phone is called for. The Blanchards aren't anti-technology. But they say in the absence of a smartphone, Ben has found an outlet in fishing, and he's gotten really good at it.
He finds tranquility in being in the water, and I just can't imagine him finding tranquility in a phone.
Both Ben and Piper attend Mountain Middle School, where the no-phone policy mirrors rules at home. But even at the age of 9, Piper says she's noticed TikTok use outside of school causing problems.
I've been seeing kids in other classes in 4th grade that's been on social media, and they've been trash-talking each other, and they've been not friends anymore.
Ben says he has little interest in social media, but does think he's close to being ready for a phone.
For music, photos, texting, or communication with your parents or friends or family.
Is it that your parents have also kind of talked you through their explanations for why you don't have phones and you trust them? Is that what's happening?
Yes, yes, very much. I completely trust them.
All right, and they didn't pay you to say that.
I mean, the money would be nice, but...
While the science on smartphones and social media is still up for debate, Will and Amber Blanchard say they're only worried about what's right for their kids.
What's best for one family, that's for them to judge. That's for their choice. And we have ours.
Do some fishing, do some camping.
It's a choice millions of American parents are now struggling to make for their own families. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Stephanie Tsai in Durango, Colorado.